Globally, women have become engines for economic growth and development in societies. Hello and welcome to Women in Business on iBrandTV. I am Margaret Opara. On today's show, we'll be discussing women, business and management. We have a wonderful guest on the show, but you would meet her after this short break, so stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. If you're just joining us, this is Women in Business, and like I said before the show, today we are discussing women, business and management. And I also said we have a wonderful guest in the show, the person of Attain. William Idem. She's a human resource professional with over 13 years progressive experience, founder of People Impact Company. So hello, Thoyin, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
How are you doing? To be here. Thank you. You made it finally against all odds. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay.
Pretty excited.
Pretty excited. Now you have a wonderful portfolio, like human resource professional with over 13 years progressive experience. I like the word progressive experience, and also a founder of People Impact Company, which is in a HR consulting firm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so firstly, how has it been for you as human resource personnel? You deal with a lot of people, women, men, and everybody. You deal with a lot of people. How has it been for you, first of all?
To be quite honest, people are my passion.
Wow.
If I wasn't doing human resources, I would be doing human resources for free.
Oh, if you weren't doing, you were doing it for free.
I was doing it for free, so
right.
I'm just happy that I get to be paid to do something I'm really passionate about.
Okay, wow. Get to be paid to do something But now let's talk about, women in business. That's the name of the show, of course, and today is Women, Business and Management. It is believed that women have great managerial skills. Do you share in that thought line, or you have something contrary to it?
To be honest, I think women, based on their role in life, they have to manage. So a woman in a relationship is looked upon to take up all of the administrative tasks, packing, cooking, cleaning, and every other thing else, looking after children. And that requires great administrative tasks. That requires the woman to be multi-skilled. That requires the woman to be able to manage and juggle many priorities at the same time. So yes, women do have a natural affinity to be good managers, but that's not to say that men too can't do it if they have to. But yes, women do find that. And some women actually don't care for it. They don't enjoy doing that. So we are in a time when women have the opportunity to choose their own path and to do it very well at that.
Okay, a time when women have to choose their own parts or tasks here and do it very well. But now, despite the rise in women-owned businesses, female founders they still lack the financial resources for starting their own business. Now we'll say female founders are I want to start something, but the financial resources I have limited resources. Is there a way? How can that be handled?
That's a very interesting question. So in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, traditionally it was the men that were more venture.
Yeah,
so
correct.
They were the ones who were doing businesses. They were the ones who understood the language of business and how to get funding for their business. Now the entry of women into entrepreneurship meant that they started off with doing their hobbies. So for example, a woman loved to cook, she would start a catering business. A woman who loved to make hair would open up a salon. So when people started, women businesses were really spin-off of their hobbies. We hadn't gotten to the point when women were thinking of how to build companies and sustainable businesses out of those hobbies. But then that was then. Now, women are more focused on how they can turn those hobbies into very sustainable business. But there is still a question out there, access to capital. So how do you speak the language of finance in such a way that an investor, a financier can see the financial picture of your business and they can say, oh, this business is a viable business. It starts with record keeping. Women may not naturally be knowledgeable about all of the records they need to keep in their business. They might not have been keeping their proper accounts. So it becomes a challenge when you want to talk to a customer. When they start to ask you where are your audited accounts, you don't have it. Where is your statement of accounts? You don't have it. Where is your profit and loss statement? You don't have it. So the more women become much more knowledgeable about how to speak the language of finance, the easier it will be for them to access finance. And there are quite a number of institutions that are now very, very much focused on female-owned businesses. I know for a fact that FCMB has a She Ventures program that is focused on giving women 0% loan to run their business, and there are quite a number of other opportunities like that that women can now tap into. And more interestingly, we also find that some women have decided to come up and put up a venture firm. So traditionally, venture firms and private equity firms were run by men, and they will naturally favor giving money to a man. But now that we have more women as venture capitalists, they are beginning to open up the space for more women to access finance.
Yeah, cool. Okay, now as a human resource professional, I would have asked, what's your why? The why you started, but before, when the show just kicked off, you said if you were not doing human resource, you would have been doing it for free. So it's something that was born out of passion. You said you have a passion for people.
Yes, I do.
PP or PFP, passion for people.
Yes,
but now in the women entrepreneurship system, we have an issue. Generally, aside entrepreneurship, we have an issue with women supporting women. Now your reaction has shown a lot, but before I say much, what's your take on that? I know before you talk, it's a saying that women are a handful to deal with. I know a lot of women who would rather have male friends, single ladies rather have male friends than female, because it's believed that we are just competitive. Why you someone just sees you and assumes you're a threat to her work, or the way you look is already a threat to her. She's wondering, I don't like her. What did I do? Nothing. Why don't you like me? I don't know. I just don't like you. So what do you have to say about that?
Okay, so let's talk about this issue, because it's always going to be the elephant in the room. Women supporting women. But that's a changing narrative. So yes, years ago, and in some places, you still have a very limited support for women by other women in business. And that could be maybe because they feel threatened, they feel like, oh, I got here through pain, grit, and sweat, and I don't want to pay for it. But to be quite honest, that narrative is changing.
Correct. Yeah.
I know for a fact that there are so many women organizations that are focused on providing customized support for women entrepreneurs. I know that for a fact. For example, you have Winbees, you have Swag, you have quite a number, you have She Leads Africa, you have quite a number of
She Leads Africa, yeah, I know about that.
Female-owned businesses that are paving the way and changing that narrative. Now, to talk about women who feel that women are a bit of a handful, yeah, that's true, but every personality is a bit of a handful. Men are also a bit of a handful. It depends on how you stage those relationships. And then it also depends on who you are. So yes, a number of women might be a bit insecure about themselves. They might be insecure about the way they look, the way they feel, their accomplishments in life. So when they find a younger woman who is striving hard, they suddenly feel so threatened for no reason. I mean, just that person's presence is making you feel threatened. But I can assure you again, that narrative is changing. We have more women who are supporting each other, who are holding each other up, who are paving the way for each other and paying it forward as well.
Correct. So about women supporting each other. Now, how do we expand women's network and accommodate female entrepreneurs in a society like this? Like you mentioned a couple of organizations that are into that already. So aside that, how do you think we can expand this women's network?
To be quite honest, start one. That's the way to expand it. Start one. So if you as an individual, you're excited about entrepreneurship, you think you have an idea, you think you have a platform, no matter what platform you have, start a group, start a WhatsApp group, start a Friday group, start a Zoom session, start something. Because to be quite honest, nobody is going to give you permission. Nobody is going to say, okay, Margaret, I authorize you to start a network. Nobody needs to give you permission. Correct. You need to give yourself that permission to say, you know what, I am passionate about this topic. I'm not going to just say I'm passionate. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to start something. It could start as a free enterprise. It could start as a paid for service. For whatever it is, start something to expand the access, because there are women at many levels. Yeah. There are the single moms. There are the ones who didn't go to school. There are the ones who have a PhD. So different organizations are serving their different needs, but there will still be some part of the market that is not as served as others. So if you have the need, if you have the feel that you can do something, I'd say please go ahead and put something concrete together. You would be surprised how much support you will get once you put the idea to paper.
But then talking about ideas, now you have a lot of times, like we all know this is a male-dominated society. Of course, we have women who are coming up to carve a niche. I like to use the word carve a niche. We have Nigerians, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who just went through the last lap of the World Trade Organization as a leader. Now that's a big one for Africa, and absolutely, I'm sure you are proud of her.
Super.
And this is a woman. Yeah, so this is a woman. This is a woman. Gone are the days where they say you have to have a male child to take on your father's legacy. Now, I'm sure Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has brothers, without disrespect to her brothers, but she is carving a niche. She has carved a niche. So now we have this thing of, you are a woman, your idea might not just work. So how do we move forward when everyone is telling us that our ideas won't work? It's more like, okay, you want to do this, like you said, more like a hobby for you. So they see it as hobby, but it's beyond it's beyond a hobby. You also said that. So how do we move forward when everyone seems to believe our ideas won't work? Probably we might just get tired along the line, and I just want to open a shop where I sell baby things at some point. She will get tired. Let me just open it for her. After a while, my wife or this lady would get tired of it. So how do we move in that kind of system?
That's a very valid question, and that's because some female-owned businesses really start out as a hobby, and that's not bad. That's not a bad way to find your passion. You can then decide if you want to build your hobby into a full-fledged business. But before making my next statement, I want to make it abundantly clear that it's okay for a woman not to be overly aspirational. Just because I open a baby care line and my aspiration is to have my baby products in stores in London, Paris, New York, that's my aspiration. That doesn't have to be your aspiration.
Yeah.
So first off, you need to be comfortable in whatever level of aspiration you have. So if you're comfortable to say, you know what, I will only have a store just down the road from my house, that's fine. And if you decide to say, you know what, no, I'm a manufacturer, I want to ship to other parts of the country, that's equally fine. The main distinguishing factor is that the woman herself must be dead clear. What is my mission? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So that when naysayers come and say, oh, you're going to get tired very soon, you can tell them, yeah, I will get tired, I will rest, and then I will pick it up
again.
So there is no shame in getting tired. There is even no shame in pivoting. There is no shame in saying, I started this business, I can see that it wasn't moving, I decided to change it into something else. We obviously allow societal pressure to envelope us to such a point where we're finding it difficult to have our own voice. So my first advice for anybody who is in a situation where you're facing a lot of pushback on your ideas is, please find your voice, find your why. Why do you want to do what you're doing? Re-clarify it to yourself, raise it over and over again until if you're woken up in the middle of the night, you can tell them, this is what I want to do and this is why I want to do it. And if you do decide to change it, see, you're not beholden to anybody to give an answer. You can change in as much as you're sure of why you are changing. So the most important thread, the running thread, is that you must find your why, you must use your voice, you must be clear about your why, you must be clear about why you're choosing that course. So that when you now begin to face challenges, which in every business idea, in every course of life, you would have challenges, you can push back on that challenge.
Yeah. The sector's gap, especially among leadership, how did you attain this level of success as a woman?
Thank you very much for that question. So first off, I honestly do not consider myself as being successful. I think I am on my journey, and I think everybody is on their journey as well. Now, success for me is very relative, and as I'm sure it is for everyone. So for example, if I were to pivot the question back to you and say, Margaret, what's your own picture of a successful life? You would give me a different answer, as will most women. So for me, success would be that I have I'm spending my time in the right buckets. I'm spending the right time on my spirituality. I'm spending the right time with my family. I'm spending the right time working on projects that I enjoy. I'm spending the right time building a business that I want to thrive. And how do people get here? So as a recipe, a general recipe is you have to be clear. There is nothing that beats clarity. Once you have clarity of purpose, it really just helps you to fade out all of the outside noise, because at any given point in time, there are 1,000,000,001 options. You could either go to school or you don't go to school. You could learn how to make hair or you learn how to make dresses. There are 1,000,000,001 options of what to do. But once you're clear, it just fades out every other option, and you know that these are the two things I need to do, and you focus on doing those two things. Now, if you do them and you do them consistently well, you will get noticed, you will get compensated, you will get appreciated, you will get the impact that you need.
Wow. So clarity of purpose. Now we'll be speaking to Oluwatoyin William Idem, who is a human resource professional. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll delve more into this topic, women, business and management. So stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited.
We pay detailed attention to your fabrics such as laces, suits, wedding gowns, and more.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
You're welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Women in Business, and yes, we have a wonderful guest in the studio with us, Oluwatoyin William Idem, who is discussing about women, business, and management. So thank you, Toyin, for staying with us. Thank you for staying with us, and thank you for being on the show. It's not easy with all the Lagos traffic. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
Okay, so before the break, you spoke about the clarity of purpose. So Toyin, if you have the opportunity to mentor another woman, would you grab it with all your might, or you would have an issue with, the fact that women tend to be kind of competitive and they don't want to open up, or sometimes they feel like it's just a woman like me. What would she want to tell me that I don't know, or what does she have to offer me? You don't have an issue with that?
That's a very interesting question. Because personally, I think mentoring is a very powerful tool for accelerating your personal development, whether it's in the frame of business or it's in the frame of a career. Even in marriage and relationships, mentoring is a fantastic way of, standing on the shoulders of others so that you don't repeat their own mistakes. But again, I see that there is an opportunity for people to learn how to mentor well, and then people to learn how to be mentored. So for example, if I was to be a mentee to someone, sometimes people come into a mentoring relationship and they are thinking of how they can get everything. That's not fair. It has to be a mutual beneficial relationship.
Yeah.
You have to be able to decipher what is it I can bring to the table. Now, your mentor may not be on the same level as you. So maybe a mentor is a very accomplished person and you're saying, oh, she has everything or he has everything. There would be something you can give to that person.
Yes.
Exactly. So find what it is. Be more observant to find what it is that you can share with that person that will make the person look forward to spending time with you. Now, if you are somebody's mentor, mentoring is a heavy responsibility. One of the things that I think is going to make the mentoring relationship very successful is the ability of the mentor to open up. So there will be questions, general questions, but you should be able to share.
That's the mentee now we're talking about.
The mentor.
Oh,
you
the
should
mentor.
be able to share from your own life experiences because no one is in your head. No one has walked your shoes. There are so many stories about people that nobody gets to hear. But those stories could be useful in helping another person avoid making that mistakes. But there is that also possibility about confidentiality. How do you ensure that your mentoring relationship, the conversations that happen, they don't become public knowledge? Please, I always like to say clarity again. Seek clarity and speak clearly. Please, in saying this thing to you, Margaret, I would assume that we're speaking in confidence. And the person says, yes, we're speaking in confidence. And you can hold them to it. Because it's very, very disheartening when you tell somebody something in confidence and then the next thing you can hear it in public places and you're wondering, I thought this person was mature. So first off, a mentee should do their due diligence. Not everybody can be a mentor.
Correct.
Don't think, just because this person speaks so well, they will be happy to mentor. They might not have the temperament to mentor. So don't force mentoring on people. Ask very nicely, I would like you to be my mentor. And this is the reason why I would like you to be my mentor. And then you have to take ownership, take responsibility of the relationship. Drive it both ways so that the value is created both ways. And I think if you follow those steps, you should have a very successful mentoring relationship.
Oh. All right, Tony, thank you for that reply. Now, this question is something that's been in my head. I'm sure it's just not in my head, in the head of every other young woman. I am not married. I hope to get married someday, yes. And even here to a very wonderful man who would support what I have to do. But I believe that the distance you will go or how far you would go in life.
The distance you go is dependent on you.
But now, I know, of course, you should have a personal goal for yourself. But if I'm married to someone who is going to London and I want to go to Kano, it's obviously not the same route. So if I want to, I'm supposed to get married to someone who has the same, who at least supports my dreams, support my aspirations. Even though if it's wrong for what I'm going, where I'm going to is wrong, he tells me, Don't you think you should align this way? I think that's what I mean by largely dependent, because you have to be respectful to whoever you marry to.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you have to be respectful. Probably you have a goal for yourself. You want to do this, and he's telling you, babe, I want us to do this, but you want to do this. So that's why I said I use the word largely dependent, because you might have all the goals and aspirations. If you marry the wrong person, you will definitely be static.
That's like a 10-in-1 question. So I'm
Okay.
wondering what is the best place to take it from. On the subject of marriage, choice of marriage partners, and supportive spouse. That's a loaded question, but let's take it apart.
Yeah.
So the typical young person will be looking to get married maybe 23, 24, 25, 26, and then if you're beginning to get late 30, 31, and you're really, really late 35, 37, 39, and people are worried. So those timelines are almost sacrosanct. However, that being said, most people haven't figured out what is it they want to do in their late 20s or mid 20s.
Yeah.
The society tries to force us to find something to
Exactly.
do. But unfortunately, that's a very, very difficult thing to do, because in your 20s, you're really just exploring. You're on your journey. You're not supposed to figure it out. There are so many people that they blossomed late. They found their path in their 40s. They are very successful in their 50s. So what were they doing in their 20s? They were discovering themselves, and that's okay. So most people in their 20s, they really haven't figured out their path yet, and that's fine.
Okay.
That's okay. There shouldn't be so much societal pressure on people finding their path early. Some people are fortunate, don't get me wrong. Some people are fortunate, they find their path, they know what they want to do, and that's great. But for majority of people, they don't really get to say, this is exactly what I'm going to do to be successful. So they are figuring it out, and now in figuring it out, there's so much pressure on them. And unfortunately, at that point, that's when they meet their life partner. So imagine somebody who hasn't gotten very clear route of how they want to get to their destination. They don't even have a destination. They just know that they don't want to be broke,
Yeah.
but they don't have a destination to how to be successful. And now they're falling in love with somebody, they're married to that person. That person, in their own best interest, has an idea of what they want you to do. And that's fine. That's not to be penalized. But the question is, how does a woman gently put it on the table that she has a different view of herself? She has a separate goal. How do you ensure that that goal becomes a goal that is interwoven with the man's goals, and then they become a family activity that everybody can take? And I say that communication is the best way out.
Okay.
You can't fight it. It's not a conversation that you're going to have an argument and you're going to be so animated about. No, you wouldn't win like that. You would win by communicating very calmly but firmly.
Yeah,
Again,
family,
the
yeah.
question is, are you clear about what you want? If you're not clear about what you want, you will not be able to communicate firmly. You would tire out very quickly, especially when it looks as if nobody is giving you the attention and the support. And then back to my point about you being the person who is going to make yourself successful. You're the person who is going to determine how far you go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Because of that will. Now, if you lack that will, which in some cases some women don't have the will, then you find them being tossed around. And if the man that is telling them what to do, I mean, that's not bad, because a man should compliment you. He can tell you, oh, this is where I think your strengths are. But you more than anyone know your strengths.
Better, yeah.
So if you're not giving voice to your strength, somebody else is going to give you the ideas of what they think their strength is. And they are not doing it in a negative way. They're only doing it because they love you.
Yeah, but in some cases it's done negatively.
Well, again, so many things happen. There are so many. So again, when people try and discuss male-female relationships, to be quite honest, it's a very, very difficult topic to discuss in totality, because you don't know everything that has happened.
Correct. But nevertheless, you have said a lot. You have to first find yourself. You have to discover yourself and not fight about this. When you're talking to your spouse, or probably you're not married yet, talking to your boyfriend, fiancé, you don't fight about it. You can't win it by fighting. Violence is not at all. But nevertheless, before we end this segment, Twin, what are you working on at the moment? Is there something you need to tell us you're working on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm having a new baby.
Oh, okay.
But then again, it's not a physical baby. I'm writing a book about the reasons why people lose their job. You know, COVID has really made this year quite exceptional. And as an HR person, I have seen that quite a number of people have lost their jobs, but they don't know why they've lost their jobs. They don't know how to repeat not losing their job. So I'm writing a book about it. It's going to be out next month. I'm super excited because I know a lot of people are going to be able to benefit from reading the book.
So I would want to buy because I don't want to lose my job. But nevertheless, thank you, Tony, for being on the show. Thank you. We appreciate your time, and we hope to have more of you on our segment.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I've had a great time.
Thank you. All right, now that wraps it up for Women in Business on iBrandTV. Don't forget, you'll be defined not just by how you achieve what you want to achieve, but how you survive. I am Margaret Opara, and thanks for watching.